This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Well, Merry Christmas. Welcome to December on Coffee, Country, and Cody from the Acuff House Studio on the Grand Ole Opry Plaza. I was there just a few hours ago with John Party in the spotlight. We were doing the first of many Opry Country Christmas shows this year for 2024. Find out more at Opry.com. And Charlie Mattos, run your lineup tonight and your spotlight artist, the beautiful Lori Morgan.
Oh, we're going to have a lot of fun. Well, Larry, Steve, and Rudy, the Gatlin brothers, are part of all the shows, along with Riders in the Sky, Mandy Barnett, who's going to join us in about 10 minutes, and Charlie McCoy. And then the special guests tonight are Eric Pasley, Kathy Mattea, who I really am hoping does Mary, did you know? Oh. And Lori Morgan will be the spotlight artist, as you mentioned. 7 o'clock, tickets available at Opry.com.
And she knew, by the way.
Mary, did you know?
Yeah.
She did know. Yeah, she didn't believe it first, but she knew. Yeah.
People have done that song. I mean,
everybody.
Well, you know, it's not that old of a song, though. I mean, you know, what Buddy Green and who?
Mark Lowry.
Yeah, like
Mark
late 80s, early 90s,
yeah,
maybe?
Mark wrote the words and Buddy put the music to it, I believe is the way it was. Because Mark said, man, I need some help with this. I got this song, but I just don't have what it needs.
Yeah.
And Buddy says, I have what it needs.
Let me get a hold of that.
Did they ever pull it together? John Party, by the way, we're going to go back to the stage of the Grand Ole Opry for Merry Christmas from the Keys, which is on his Christmas album of a year ago. And he just celebrated his first anniversary as an Opry member.
That's right.
So,
he sure
Christmas
did.
time. It was a very special Christmas last year for John Party, no doubt.
And he's got 2 little ones at home this Christmas. So there's going to be a lot of batteries and putting things together, probably, if I remember. And a lot of playing with bows and wrapping paper. That's always the worst, when you buy some great present for your kid and then they play with the bows and wrapping paper instead.
Or climbing the box.
Yeah. Oh, the box. For sure. Get something with a really big box, because that's what they love. Hey, coming up, entertainment, we are talking about the Billboard 100 Greatest Country Artists of All Time. Who's on the list? Is your favorite there? And who we think should be on the list. So we'll double check to see. Plus, Dasha, bless it. She was in the Thanksgiving Day Parade. We talked about how excited she was going to be for that. And then there was a little bit of a malfunction. So we've got that video coming up for you. Stay tuned.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
Wait, I know that face. I just saw it like a few hours ago. It belongs to Mandy Barnett. Yes, it does. She was at Opry Country Classics, the first show. You'll be at all of them, I guess, will you not?
Christmas.
All of them but Wednesday night.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's the reason you're here this morning.
That's right.
And Mandy is accompanied by Monica Ramey and Variety on Main, this great show that you have brought to the Franklin Theater. How many have you done now?
This will be our 11th. We skipped November because it just didn't line up well, so because of the holidays and everything. So 11 shows. We're planning on coming back next year. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a different kind of thing, putting together a show and getting to book artists and kind of curate a show.
Who was the first show, when we look back on the history of this show one of these days? Who will we remember as the first show you did?
Well, Jim Lauderdale, Wyatt Ellis. We had our friends Pokey and Cheryl Chun, the Dancing Chuns.
Pokey just had a birthday.
Pokey had a birthday, and of course they have these 2 sons, so it's like you just invite the family and you've got a clogging group. Whole show. You know, and I've known them. I go way back because of my connection with Melvin Sloan, and so they were on. Who else was on?
I'm trying to think. I don't remember who else was on the first show, but that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
I think we might have had 1 or 2 other people. Sorry, whoever we're missing. You were great on the show, though.
You were fantastic. We could never have done it without you.
Very memorable.
The fun thing is, too, it's not just country artists. Like you were talking about all the different people that you have. And were you doing a magician at one point?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was, we had a world champion yo-yo master.
Love it.
And
Well, how appropriate that we are sitting in Acuff's house in the living room.
Yeah, that's right.
Who fancied himself a yo-yo master.
Yo-yo. We had a guy, John DeToy. He was amazing, and so he's won all these competitions. I think he was on America's Got Talent, and I had no idea there was so much to the yo-yo. But he really went over great. Everyone loved him. we've had mariachi, we've had polka,
Irish dancers,
yep.
comedians. Yeah.
Yep.
That's fun.
It harkens back to the Ed Sullivan Show
Exactly.
of my youth.
Exactly.
Definitely. There's elements of all the different variety shows that you love. But it's been fun putting it together and trying to figure out the non-musical guests versus the musical guests. And we really love bluegrass. Bluegrass goes over well too. So it's fun putting it together. I'm glad we did it. I mean, we're producing the show, we're hosting it, we're doing everything.
So whose idea was it? Monica? You? Who came up with it? Or kind of simultaneously?
It kind of simultaneously. I think it was mine just for a variety show, but we were talking about trying to think of something that we could do together at the Franklin Theater.
Yeah. And it came together because I live in a whole other musical world too, but we know a lot of the same people, so we knew we could...
Monica lives in the jazz world primarily.
Yeah, we can marry our ideas, well, and it's worked out really well.
And also having a band that is just world class. We've got Pat Quill, who's the musical director. He's Michael McDonald's musical director, but he can play country, he can do it all, rock, R&B. So having a versatile band that can cover anything is really great. I mean, it's why it works so well at the Opry too. So.
Yeah. So run your Wednesday night lineup.
Well, Wednesday night we've got Ella Derby, who's an amazing fiddle player. She's 9 years old. She's 9 or
10,
She's
I
10. Okay. She's been taking lessons from Deanie Richardson, and she's just an incredible young musician. And Chuck Mead, who's been on the Opry many, many times. We're going to do a duet of Jackson, which we recorded
nice.
many moons ago, but he's always great. Wendy Moten, just a world-class singer.
Time Jumpers.
And is with the Time Jumpers.
And Giada Valenti, who is an Italian songstress.
And
Yes.
we were introduced to her at the Grand Ole Opry by, of all people, Trace Hatton.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And Mandy and I both sing on the show as well. So and the
We fill in the
mainstays are
gaps.
our house band that's led by Pat Coyle. They're featured on songs too. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Oh yeah, we have a surprise artist, a new artist.
Yeah, what's his last name?
Dylan Weldon, and he does it's a talking bit, and it's like what was the guy's
Kind of
name?
like Paul Harvey.
Paul Harvey, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, on this day kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's really interesting and kind of a historian. So we're trying different things.
Well, for those of you just joining us, it's Mandy Barnett and Monica Ramey, Variety on Main, this Wednesday show. That's what we're talking about. 7 o'clock, Franklin Theater. And just go to franklintheater.com for tickets and information.
Yes, or varietyonmain.com, either one. But the show is great. We're always surprised after every Wednesday night how well everything has gone. Like, oh, wow, we really know what we're doing. This is amazing. I'm so shocked.
We fooled him again.
I don't have that feeling often when we wrap up here, so I'm glad someone does. But good to know.
Well, I like variety.
Yeah.
I get antsy if I'm sitting out in an audience and every song sounds the same. I start getting antsy and want to go out in the lobby. So that's not going to happen at Variety on Main.
Well, and
You're
especially
gonna
Christmas
be riveted.
time. That square in Franklin
It's beautiful.
is
Oh, it's
so
so
gorgeous at Christmas time.
I think
It
they
sure
did the
is.
tree lighting last night, I think.
Oh,
so it'll
wow.
be all lit up and pretty on Wednesday.
Boy, and the barn at the Grand Ole Opry with its upgrades is just even more spectacular at
it's
Christmas
so
this year with that
gorgeous.
first show last night. You will enjoy it because it'll be different even if you were here for shows last year as we kicked it off, the first show of 2024.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
And Mandy Barnett and Monica Ramey are here. Variety on Main is Wednesday at 7 o'clock at the Franklin Theater. Chuck Mead, Wendy Moten, Giada Valenti, Ella Derby. Am I leaving anybody else? I get
Dylan Weldon.
Dylan Weldon.
He's a new addition
All right.
to the show. We're
Tickets
excited
are
to have him.
available at franklintheater.com.
Where do you guys find all these people? Do they come to you now, or is it
Both.
just okay? I wondered if it was word
I
of mouth.
found people on Instagram. I mean, that's kind of the fun part.
Yeah, It
Just
really
being able
is.
to discover people.
Especially like little ones, because you were that performing kid once upon a time, so you know how fun that is.
Well, and it's important to give them a stage, an opportunity to perform within a professional setting. Like when I was 8 years old, Archie Campbell told me, hey, I can't pay you, but you can come play my theater anytime you want. So we'd load up on the weekends and go to Pigeon Forge and just work with his band, and it was a great experience.
I have that same exact arrangement with Dan Rogers. He said, listen, I can't pay you, but anytime you want to come and announce, you can have a
That's
hold.
fine.
So it's worked out well.
Darryl McCall had the best line about that. He said, people call and say, hey, listen, it don't pay, but it's good publicity. And Darryl said, hell, I've raised a family of 5 on good publicity.
We know sometimes it is good publicity, and it's good experience, especially when you're that age.
Yeah.
Just coming, you learn
absolutely.
so much.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and these are folks that someday should be filling up like venues like the Franklin Theater. And most of them that we're getting on the show, they might not be quite ready for that, but they will be. And for us to give them the opportunity to start, get their feet wet.
We know
It's
so
pretty cool.
much about Mandy. Give us a little backstory, a little bio on you, Monica, and where you're from, and you talked about the jazz world.
You and Kelly share a home state in Indiana.
Are you a Hoosier?
Yeah, I'm from Hanover.
Wonderful.
Where are you from?
I'm from a little town in the northwest part of the state called Francisville. There's 900 people in the
Okay.
town. Broken flashing stoplight. That's it.
No need to fix it.
Love it.
No, never. It's been broken since before I was born.
So how far out of Chicago? How far out of Gary and Chicago?
We are about 100 miles south of Chicago
Okay.
and about 100 miles north of Indianapolis.
Oh, okay.
Right, essentially right off of the great I-65.
There you go.
But yeah, I grew up, my mom is a musician and a teacher, music teacher, and my dad's a farmer, and that whole good story. But I've been singing since I was a little kid as well. And
When did you come to Nashville?
I moved here in 2000, and I always knew I wanted to sing jazz. I don't know what drew me to Nashville in particular, except I made the right choice.
So
you
in
know.
2000, where were you singing? What were the jazz places in town?
I discovered the Nashville Jazz Workshop not too long after I moved to town, and I started studying there. It's a great place. It's still around. It's wonderful. It's a school and a venue. And I met some of my lifelong friends there. I met the great B.G. Adair, the jazz pianist, there, and we ended up being not only great friends but colleagues. We worked together until her passing in 2022. And those experiences really changed my life. I met Mandy through all of that indirectly, and it's. I actually have a nice career as a jazz singer, and there's so many great musicians in this town that play everything, and like the Opry band, they're just so versed in every type of genre. So it's a great city to live in.
I love Skulls for jazz down in Printers Alley. The Skulls Rainbow Room. It's a wonderful room. The jazz scene in Nashville is quite good.
Rudy's.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is.
Rudy's is great.
Yeah,
Rudy's
Rudy's
is
is
awesome.
good.
Monica plays Rudy's quite a bit.
And before COVID, I traveled a lot, so I'm kind of eager to get back out on the road and do some things out of town too. But I love doing variety on Main. I sing the standards, so a lot of times people might be familiar with the songs that I sing, but didn't necessarily know how to place them, hear them at weddings or things like that. So I'm happy to keep them in the ears of people.
Well, as we approach Christmas, one of the great quotes ever on Coffee, Country, and Cody in my 30 years came when Mandy was a guest for a Christmas show at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum.
Oh.
And we were just chatting about memories of Christmas and food and presents and that sort of thing. And Mandy said, Bill, all the great pie makers are dead. We have to do something.
I've been on a roll lately about that again, and I've decided I'm going to learn to make one.
Okay.
But I got to have the time. But I am going to learn how to make a meringue pie, and I'm going to keep doing it until it's right. I made one time, and it was maybe an inch tall, weighed about 20 pounds.
Ooh.
Totally inedible, but I'm going to do it.
You can't use an electric
they're too hard to
mixer.
find.
Yeah, you can't use an electric mixer. You got to use the hand mixer.
Yeah.
Your arms will look really good after you start.
that's
You
true.
know, it's a lot.
But you got to get the meringue just right. And I'm not into whipped cream and custard. It's got to be meringue.
Okay.
So how old are you in the picture that we show at the Opry at the top of the show when we're running down the list of artists that night?
Probably 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your yellow onesie.
My yellow onesie. I wore a lot of onesies back then.
I think we all did.
Yeah,
it would be
that
great
was
if
a
you
thing.
could recreate that and come out one night in a big yellow onesie. That would be awesome. I'm just going to put that out there. Just think about it.
How about tonight?
That would be fun.
I just got Jackson a onesie pajama yellow from The Simpsons. And
Oh,
it's got a
that's
hood.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I'll see if they make adult sizes.
Well, and I was a blonde back then too, so
There you go. It all fits.
yes.
Variety on Main, Wednesday, 7 o'clock, Franklin Theater. Guests are Chuck Mead, Wendy Moten, Giada Valenti, Ella Derby, and again, the
Dylan Weldon.
You've
Yeah.
added that name to the list, franklintheater.com for tickets and information. Thanks for getting up early and coming in and just sharing your stories and your
Thanks for
lives.
having us.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Always great to be here.
And this was a Johnny Cash tribute work, and you, in this particular case, it's you and Chuck Mead.
Me and Chuck Mead, yeah, many years ago, over 20 years ago, we cut this, and I love working with Chuck. He's, we were all kind of neighbors, so to speak. When I was doing Always Patsy Cline, he was in BR 549 playing there on Broadway, and we'd all hang out in the alley and interact with each other, and it was a great time back then in the 90s.
And always great when he's at the Opry. too.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's from Dolly. You don't hear her version of that as often as you probably should, really. But Emmylou Harris had the hit on To Daddy from Dolly. You heard it here all over the world on WSM Radio. I was listening and singing along while I was heating up your father's persimmon pudding in the microwave.
It's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About 20 seconds for a piece that size.
Yep.
Should do it.
Yeah, so if you are just listening in or watching us for the very first time, there's a treat that we get every Thanksgiving and sometimes Christmas. It's persimmon pudding. I grew up with it. It's one of those weird things that you think everybody has had, and then when you mention it and they look at you like you've got a monkey on your head, you're like, oh, wait, that's just specific to our house or Southern Indiana.
That was me the first time you mentioned it.
Well, and I was talking to Monica Ramey, who's from Indiana, and I said, have you ever had persimmon pudding? And she was completely clueless. So I think maybe Southern Indiana thing. But yeah, he makes it as almost like a consistency of a bread pudding, I would say.
Yep.
But it's persimmons and a lot of sugar. And then a glaze over top of it.
It also looks like...
It looks like fudge. A little bit.
No, I'm having mine cold.
Okay.
Bill has
Yours is
heated his
cold.
up.
His is warm. If you do a little bit of vanilla ice cream on it, it's really like top notch. I didn't bring vanilla ice cream. I'm sorry, Charlie. I only had so many hands. But then we also have Chex Mix from my mother-in-law, so that's in the break room as
nice.
well. So you guys get sugared up. I'll do some stories. We just had Dolly. Dolly is at the top of the list. No surprise here. Top 100 country artist of all time from Billboard. Number 1 is Dolly Parton. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. All of our favorites that we mentioned, we went around the horn. Who do we think should be on here?
Yep, Garth was my first guess.
Garth was on there.
Merle Haggard.
I said Johnny Cash, and Johnny Cash is number 2. Merle's 10. Garth is 7, I believe, on there.
Yeah,
So
he's going to
we've got-
talk to you about that. by
I
the
didn't
way.
do it. 7's his lucky number. He's probably happy with that.
Okay. No, that's
Right?
actually true. You're
He
right.
loves 7s.
You're right.
So,
And,
yeah.
Hank Williams, of course, and Hank Williams Jr.
Yeah, Hank and Hank Jr. both on there. Charlie Rich is on there. Luke Combs, Linda Ronstadt, Eric Church.
We asked
Keith
Mandy,
Urban.
Keith is 71.
We asked Mandy Barnett. She said, all I know is if Charlie Rich is not on there, they shouldn't even do it.
I looked it up. Charlie Rich is 58 because I wanted to make sure. Ray Price is 63. So we've got, and Farron Young is on there. We've got the Louvin brothers, everybody, Roger Miller, that you would expect to be on here, Kitty Wells. It's all on the list. So if you want to find it out, billboard.com, you can find all the
Porter
lists.
Wagner made it. If
Porter
Dolly
Wayne.
made it, Porter's got to be on there.
Porter Wayne is on there. Yep. So we got a really good list right there. If you want to check it out again, billboard.com. Let's talk about Dasha. She was on the Thanksgiving Day parade. I mentioned this story earlier. She was so excited because her grandma watches every year. And bless her heart, she was on the parade float for 2 hours in the rain just for 5 minutes of airtime on television. And here's kind of what it looked like. Sadly, the rain got to her red lipstick. She got the microphone a little too close to her mouth. And it looked like a little kid that had eaten a whole bushel full of strawberries because her whole mouth was red all the way around the top, around her chin. And she had no idea. So she is just smiling and waving and grinning. And everybody online is like, what happened to this poor girl? So afterward, she went online and said, I learned something today. I learned not to put the microphone so very close to my mouth when I have on red lipstick. And I'm just saying, if Revlon or CoverGirl doesn't reach out to do an ad campaign with her after this, it's a missed opportunity. Right. So don't worry, Dasha, you still sounded great.
From WSM Radio, this is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Happy to update you on the work of Eli's House in our community with its founder. Jenny Rustioni is here, and the development director has joined us as well, and that's Natalie Lamarbre. Nice to see you. Welcome to the Acuff House studio, your first visit. Sitting here looking out over the Grand Ole Opry Plaza. And you and Kelly Sutton, you had a history already.
Oh, I'm so excited you guys came in.
So excited to be here. Thank you guys so much for having us.
Absolutely. Okay, so for people who are just hearing about Eli's House, I have luckily had the great fortune of being there and seeing all the work that you're doing, being a part of the fundraising efforts that you did this fall as well. But give everybody a backstory on how this got started, Jenny.
Yeah. So I'm Jenny Rustioni. I'm the founder of Eli's House. We opened our doors 2 years ago, September 22. And so our mission is really to equip women and their children to thrive after trauma by offering them a faith-based residential program where we give them education, therapy, parent coaching, and life skills. So that's what we're doing. Do you know that the state of Tennessee is #1 in the nation for having the most unstable foster care system? So what does that mean? That means that when children are entering into our foster care system, they're being moved too many times while they're in this system. And an article that I read a couple years ago said that if a child is moved 5 or more times while they're in our foster care system, they are 90% likely going to end up in our judicial system. So that's the problem we're facing in the state of Tennessee. And Eli's House wants to be an answer and a solution to this problem.
So when did the Holy Spirit move in your life?
Yeah.
And you say, there had to be a moment in time where you say, I need to do that. I have to do that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So Eli's House was birthed out of a lot of personal pain in my own life. I have a son who's from a previous relationship, and unfortunately, I had a front row seat at seeing what trauma does to people, especially our children, at no fault of their own, and it has left me at war with what trauma does to people. And so I just want to love people back to health. And my 3 children are really my biggest inspiration, especially Eli. He's now 19 years old. It was really hard watching him walk through just being in the middle of tumultuous situations. And so he was my biggest inspiration. I fought for him in litigation for 16 years, and it was really, really tough. And he's getting to the other side of it, though, as being a 19-year-old now. So Eli was my biggest inspiration. My middle son, Luca, was also a big inspiration. So the E actually stands for Eli. The L stands for my 16-year-old son, Luca, and the I stands for my 6-year-old daughter, Isabella, who we adopted when she was 5 days old. And the thought of her in the foster care system really can just break my heart to this day. So they are my biggest motivators.
So what are you doing day to day?
Yeah.
I know we've described what the problem is.
Yeah.
What's the problem solving that goes into the work you do?
That's a good question. So, I mean, what gets me out of bed every single morning is knowing I get to go to Eli's House and love people. I think that is the biggest problem we're solving is these people have never been loved unconditionally before. And I get the honor and the privilege to be able to do that every single day.
And where's it located? located?
Yeah,
And
so
how
it's
many people
located.
how
Yeah,
many do
good
you
question.
have?
It's located in Franklin, Tennessee. We are able to serve 5 families at a time currently. We want to expand, obviously, but we are born in Franklin, Tennessee, serving women and their children. And I'm happy to say that, what we are doing is working. We now have some statistics since we've been open for 2 years now. So 86% of our moms are remaining successful. And that just means they're keeping custody of their children, keeping a roof over their heads, and maintaining a steady job. So 86% are successful. 100% of our children have been kept out of the foster care system. So we've been able to serve 29 children in our 2 years.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Natalie, I know that there are so many things that go into this, and you have different programs. So tell us a little bit about when people come, it's not just giving them a place to live.
Exactly. So I would say we kind of say there's a threefold to like what this looks like: empower transformation, establish independence, and equip futures. So how do we do that? In a nutshell, there's so much to say here because it's a holistic up to 2-year program. But the first part of empowering transformation is spiritual development, emotional intelligence curriculum, and we have trauma-informed therapy. So there's many ways the heart and the mind is being touched while at Eli's house. They're going through a lot of curriculum during the day, like I said, spiritual development, and then we do have a lot of trauma-informed therapy for both our kids and our women. The next kind of tagline that we have is established independence. We are helping some of these women get their GEDs for the first time, driver's license, TennCare, health care, aiding in getting them meaningful employment. That's a big deal. We want to help them get on a track where they can grow and develop. We help them in different ways get a car. How can they get to a job if they don't have a car? Right. So we are helping in many practical ways. And then the last thing that we talk about is equipping futures, helping them understand financial stability, financial literacy. We're helping them before they leave save up 6-month kind of a savings account so they're not living paycheck to paycheck. We're helping them with transitional housing and getting furniture for that housing. So we are really helping them from some of them learning to meal plan and actually go to the grocery and understand that, all the way to having a job and being able to have their own secure home. It is a holistic program.
Yeah. And on the development side, volunteering, giving, how do people do that?
Yes, there are many ways you can get involved. Volunteering is one. If you go to our website, www.elishouse.org, there are ways to volunteer. You can help with, we have baby help. We have precious little babies that you can come and rock and love on. Transportation. Our women need to go to, occupational therapy appointments, doctor's appointments. There's many practical needs we have. Organizing. We've got a home with 15 people running around. It gets crazy. And so we need help with organizing our barn, organizing the home, so people can volunteer, they can give. We have a big initiative tomorrow. I will say we've had generous donors. We have a $20,000 match, and tomorrow's Giving Tuesday, as many people know. So, you can give. You can go online and give. We're praying for $20,000 for that match tomorrow. And then also prayer. People can join us every Monday morning at 10 a.m. We love people to come and pray with us. So prayer, volunteering, giving. We have lots of opportunities and ways you can love on our families.
And Jenny, I know you wanted to share Asia's story before
I did, yeah. So I would say one of our biggest transformations that we've had at Eli's house was Asia, sweet Asia. So she came to us having to fight for herself her whole childhood, okay? That's all she knew. So when she came to Eli's house, she had 2 children and was also pregnant. And she was just angry, just so angry. That was her go-to emotion. And, one night she got really angry. I ended up having to call 911. It was a really hard scene, but, the beauty of that situation was that I got to love her in the midst of that. Even though I was angry at her at the time, she was angry at me at the time. But once we calmed down, she knew I was never going to leave her, and we got through that situation. And now when she gets angry at people, she'll call me and either vent or she will just calm herself down and not say anything. And so for her, it is such a big deal. And she is winning in life and she is thriving. She has maintained custody of her children, her home, and been working at a job at Vanderbilt that we helped her get for a year and a half now. So I am so incredibly proud of her. And love really does conquer it all, you guys. And the biggest thing we do is love them and give them community and stick with them for a lifetime. So, yeah.
Eli'sHouse.org for more information.
Yes.
And you can also donate there.
Natalie Grant was there when you did your big fundraiser and she performed. So I thought we need to play this song. She did
Absolutely.
Home the night of your fundraiser. Thank you, ladies, for coming in.
Thank you so much.